Dan here, Vagabond Buddha. I was just finished my run here. I'm in California right now, and I had a thought about a way to describe what being in the present moment is. And like everything, if you use words to describe being present, you're using a vocabulary in the mind's domain to describe something the mind can't see. So it's not perfect, it will never be perfect, but it's kind of a fun example. So I thought I would share it with you. I am in a city, there's cars driving by, I'm in a park, there's dogs and people, so there'll be noise, but that shouldn't make any difference. And so what is being in the present moment? And what is it that is the absence of suffering? What is it about being in the present moment that is the absence of suffering? And why do people spend their lives trying to find what various gurus have talked about over the years? Because suffering hurts. And so the mind is a very powerful thing. So you may touch presence from time to time in your life. And because it's joyful, it might just feel like a positive feeling you had for a moment or two before your mind jumps back in and begins to tell its story and captures the present's attention. And so you may not know when it happens. You might just think it's a positive feeling. So I thought I would describe kind of what it feels like. It's not exact, but imagine you're in an auditorium and that your mind is 20 different instruments. I'll let you decide which ones, but I'll give a few examples. And maybe your mind's a trumpet. In fact, your mind probably can play 20 different instruments. A trumpet, a saxophone, a piano, a guitar, maybe a bass guitar. And so you can imagine there's this jazz sound or rock or whatever your thing is, your mind is making noise all the time. Let's call one instrument work, one's relationships, one's money, one's religion. And you got all these things playing, and the mind's telling you what it believes and how this situation is wrong and it needs to be different and you need to make this improvement and you got to do these 6 things today. It's playing through the day. And you jump from thought to thought. And you're really into your band, if you will, your symphony, however you want to call your music. You hear that beautiful bird. And so, you agree with it. It's you. You believe it when it tells you these people are that and those people are this and that needs to change over there and this needs to be longer and that has to be shorter. Need more color. Whatever it is your mind's telling you. It's good stuff. I mean, you grew up with your mind, right? It's been your best friend, and frankly, it's really the only. That noise going on is really the only thing that has been consistent. Not the song it's playing, that's changing all the time, but just the fact that it's chattering and it's putting things in memory and recalling them and trying to figure out, do I go left or right? How fast do I go? It's trying to figure out the hack It's trying to figure out your winning formula. How do I make money faster? How do I get into a relationship? How do I get out of a relationship? How do I make this relationship better? Better pay, better working conditions. What's wrong with my children? My parents are screwed up. Just ba ba da beep beep bitty ba 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 ba. Oh no, traffic. What's the shortcut home? Should I try the shortcut? Last time I tried it, it even took longer. Ba 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 da ba beep beep ba ba. What's the meaning of life? Ah da ba beep 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 ba. I don't get it. What's this all for? Hip beep beep beep. So you're in this auditorium. Let's call life, and let's say that just one day. Let's just say that one day, over about a 5-minute time span, every instrument stopped playing. And there's another example I'll give you, but we'll start with they all stopped playing. Maybe there's some trauma that happened. It just boom, it's total, utter silence. And that is what present moment awareness is. That's one of the things. I'll tell you the other in a minute, but total silence. Not just silence, but not even your comment on silence. Oh, silence is good. No, I mean the mind just dead stopped. And where does it live during those moments? And you'll, when it happens, it'll be like a joy that you have in your life. It's not a joy because something. You didn't get a new car, although you may have a new car. You didn't make the big sale. You didn't get the new job. The new baby isn't born yet. It's just you're feeling joyful without reason. And as you sit in the silence, and you hear a bird. But you don't even say to yourself, oh, that's a bird, that's a blackbird, that bird's in North America. The mind doesn't go off on the bird. You're just in the presence. The grass around you, you're with the grass, but you're not saying, oh, it's crabgrass, it's this grass, you're just with grass. You're not even with green grass. And you're with tree. It's not even tree you're with perception, without categorizing, without remembering the next thing you have to do. And there's no need to imagine anything. You're just with all that is. And it doesn't really have a beginning. Like, you don't know where the edge is. Like, you're not even thinking, I don't know where the edge is. It's just, there's an edge out there you're not aware of. Presence goes on forever. And it feels like you project into it, not you do work to get into it. Just the silence allows you to hear that you're already there. You're outside your body and everything. And you're not imagining you're outside your body. You're perceiving it. And the first time it may last for a minute or two, it might last for an hour, it could last for weeks. There's no rules about any of this. It's just silence and the joy of living. It's a joy of living in your life without reason. It's the joy of being alive, not alive in a good way or alive in a bad way. Like, not because you're winning in your life or losing, not because you have a story to tell, but it's the actual observation of living that is where the joy is. Not living, not joy because, joy without reason. And it's all in the silence. All the instruments stopped. Ba-da-ba-ba. Eventually they'll pick up again. Bip 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 ba doop boop boo. Ba 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 ba. Oh, gotta do this, gotta do that. Ba ba da ba. And every time an instrument plays, it's telling you a story, right? And it's loud. It's consuming. It's attention grabbing. And so your mind is grabbing attention with stories, and it's attaching emotions to it. They did that to me. Oh, I hate them. Oh, or oh, isn't my baby beautiful? I love that baby. I'm so lucky to have this baby. You can love your baby in silence. The baby is lovable without a comment. And so you can be joyful for a reason. I have a beautiful baby. Let me show you my beautiful baby. And that's a reason to be joyful. And you can have a reason to be mad at the baby. Oh, the baby pooped its pants. Oh, I have to change the diapers now. See, but silence, the joy that's in silence is there when you're with your baby. And the baby is just part of the joy. And it's not joy because it's your baby. It's joy because you're experiencing a baby in your presence. And it doesn't have the story. You don't love that baby because it's your baby. You love the baby because while you're present, you feel the love. You feel the love for the baby. It could be someone else's baby. The story that you tell yourself about why you love the baby. That's a conditional kind of love, right? I only love babies that came out of me or my wife. I don't love other babies. No, you don't really think that. So why are you thinking, oh, I love my baby more? I mean, you're going to feed that baby. It doesn't matter whose baby it is. Okay, so that's what your mind is. It's a story while you're... But see, when the instruments stop, then you're aware of the presence of joy and love and all that. And you're not aware, or you're not tuned into the reason of why you love that baby. You're just loving the baby. And that's what presence is. It's being present without a story playing, without an instrument telling you a reason why you're mad or why you're happy or what needs to change or why you love the baby. Or you're happy because you bought a car. No, you're happy because you're alive, driving down the road or walking. It has nothing to do with whether you're walking or driving. You're happy because you're alive. You're present to your life. You're feeling, you're perceiving. Perception is the act of perceiving your aliveness is where the joy is without attaching a story to it. And notice it's unconditional. It's unconditional. It doesn't matter whether you're starving to death in wherever, or just been beaten, or you're living in a penthouse in whatever you think is the coolest, or country, and whatever you think is cool. Yeah, you can be joyful because of that, but that's conditional joy. It's not the joy of the present moment. It's not joy of life without reason. And so it's conditional, it's temporary. Joy because of a reason is temporary. And that's why when we are playing songs and everything's great and we're in the mountains, I feel great. But then you pull into the driveway, oh no, look what happened, the house burned down, or there's a bill collector, or she said she'd clean her room. Whatever it is, it takes you down that path, the conditional joy path. And so that's the no instruments playing. The joy of silence is it's what Buddha and I think all of the Jesus, Allah, I think the presence, I'll call it the presence of God. It's living in the presence of God. It's living in perception of life, which is the veil pulled off your eyes. Okay, so what's this other state I talked about? Okay, once you've, or for me, this isn't like, this is the rules. This is just my experience. Once you've had a glimpse into the joy of silence, there's another state. And that is, can you keep the joy of silence while you speak? So maybe it was 3 seconds you had it, of this joy of silence. But then the trumpet plays, ba-da-ba-ba, you didn't clean your room. This intermediate state is, or mid-level consciousness, if you will, one step down from total silence. So now you speak. Now it speaks. Your mind is the it. You are the all. So it speaks. It speaks. You didn't clean your room. You said you cleaned your... And now that's an internal voice, right? You can bring that, you can manifest that into the world and speak words. Susan, you promised you'd clean your room before you blah, blah, blah. And Susan says, Mom, Dad. And so there was a condition. You can have a conditional life. So you were joyful, and now you can give up the joy by the story about how you're right and she's wrong and blah, blah, blah. Now, the actions are separate from awareness, right? If you have a conversation with the person who didn't clean the room and somehow they clean their room now, that's action, right? And so in life, it's kind of cool to have a clean room, or whatever your story is, you tell you about what's required, or what's conditional in your life in order to be joyful. Clean room, good communications, enough money, great job, nice house. Whatever your story is about what a good life is, those are all conditions that have nothing to do with joy in the present moment. But you got a body, you're here, you can play that game. You can play, I'm going to go out and get conditional things also. I can be joyful and still study. I can be joyful and still love. I can be joyful and make money. I can be joyful and have a manifest life in the real world. But the difference is, in the middle way, if you will, the middle way is kind of a loaded thing, so I'll take that back and just say exactly what it is. When the mind speaks into the silence, and whether or not you manifest it in words, how you hold the information that the mind speaks determines whether you're neutral or joyful. In best case, you can be joyful while the mind speaks something that could plug you in and get you upset. You could remain joyful, and what that means is that your mind is an it, and it exists within the all. It's an it, and what is that? It is it's a 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional paradigm. It's a place, X, Y, Z coordinate in space over time. There's eyes looking out into the world, and there's memory, there's information that you've stored, and there's thoughts you have about right and wrong, good and bad, and all that. And that's what the mind is. It's a kind of a coach. It's coaching you through life, and it's coaching your kids, and it's coaching you. And when your mind speaks, you can listen to the counsel. It's like if you meet a friend in a park, you go for a walk, and you say, "Just having a rough time right now with relationship, we just seem to really be on each other's nerves. I'm thinking maybe we need a vacation, blah, blah, blah. And then your friend will launch into their free advice. And you can listen to that advice freely. And you can make a soup out of it, take some of it, not other of it. But if you're dispassionate about the advice, you don't have to correct them and tell them they're wrong. You don't have to have, crazy feelings about their advice. You can stay neutral. Just listen to the advice and say thank you without taking a position. Oh, they're right. That's ridiculous. You think, right? And so what does that mean? It means that as the silence, an instrument plays. Ba-da-ba-ba, your friend's playing. Ba-da-ba-ba, you need to do this, that, because, what you did wrong is if you try, but do you have to take a position about that? Do you have to correct them, make them right, wrong, or can you just listen without upset? Can you listen without upset and just let the advice grab onto two parts of it? Oh, that's pretty interesting. Maybe not even say, oh, that's pretty interesting. Listen to the advice. Just say, hey, a couple things in there were interesting. And what matters is the action that you take, not the upset your mind has over the story it's telling. See, your friend is the same as your mind. They're giving you advice. Your mind's giving you advice all the time. But if you can keep one foot in the presence that you learned when all the instruments stopped, you'll begin to see that the instruments playing, whether it's your own instrument, your mind, or your friend's mind, or your family's mind, whoever, those are, they're a commentary on they're saying, oh, crows are, you're the crow? I think it's a crow, I don't really know, but crows are bad, you gotta get rid of them, right? And then you're like, oh, man, I hate crows. You don't have to buy the story, just listen. Hey, crows are bad. Oh, well, crows are bad. And whether it's your mind or someone else, just let the thoughts float by. And from that place of wisdom, instead of that place of story and I'm right and you're wrong and blah, 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 from that listening of silence, if you can listen to the instruments playing in the hall, yours and others, like a third party listening without the upset of having to correct and manage, and it's only the actions you take that matter. And the actions, if they're coming out of the wisdom, if they've listened to all the advice, your trombone, your guitar, your piano, and then you brought over a sax to help you give advice and blah, blah, blah. If you can listen to all that dispassionately, gather evidence, if you will, and be in a space of perception instead of trying to prove that your story's right and theirs wrong and blah, 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 then the action you take is going to be wiser. And so it's all about what action you take. And the action just happens naturally out of, if you can keep one foot in the presence and understand that you are that thing. You're not the trumpet, and so you don't have to get upset about what the trumpet's saying. You don't have to attach to that. You are the presence. You're that already, when the mind speaks, silence. You're the silence. And the silence doesn't need to attach to anything. It's a higher kind of wisdom. And it's not a wisdom you need to figure out. It's already there. It was with you. It's in the perception. The joyful path through life is the silence, and the actions that come out of someone who has awareness of the silence while they listen to the instruments play. It's less reactive, it's less personalized, it's less right and wrong, it's less me versus you, it's less us versus them. It's a silence that has no teams. And it has longevity. It has longevity. It's there when you were born, it'll be there when you die. Your mind will stop playing. But the presence is here. It's not going anywhere. It is the all. And so that's kind of just to give you an idea of what it feels like to know that you can live in a mind state and that you can live in a silent state and you can listen in a awareness of mind state that remains connected to the wisdom. And the awareness of the trumpets and the trombones that are all playing to solve the problem of the moment, the thoughts that are slipping by as you live life and as you pay attention to the instruments instead of everything. Instead of paying attention to everything, if you attach to the individual instruments and solve your problems from a single listening, if you can remain in the neutral awareness, the pain in life, if at all, is temporary, and it's not the governing principle. It's not your resting state. Your resting state will be the joy of living. Okay, anyway, that's kind of the taste of what it feels like to have the silence, to experience life from silence, and then to hear an instrument play, and how to remain in the silence while you listen to the instrument, whether it's yours or someone else's. This is Dan from Vagabond Buddha. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.